Hi traders, welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, 𝖢𝖥𝖣yi, Senior Market Analyst. In this video, I'm going to take you through the week ahead. We're going to have a look at some of the data that's coming up this week, as well as some charts of interest. I'm going to take a little look at some strength and weakness analysis as well, so please stay tuned for that. So we're going into this week with lots of heavy data. This is probably going to be one of the biggest weeks that we've got so far this year, because it's going to come to the fact of, are the Federal Reserve going to be pausing interest rates? Is it going to be a hawkish pause? Is it going to be a dovish pause? Is this the end of the tightening cycle for the US Federal Reserve? That is what's going to be on the slate this week, and that's what's going to be the big talking point of the market. But not only that, we have lots of other data as well. So let's go take a look at what we do have coming up this week. Now, there is a bank holiday in Japan on Monday, so we'll probably see not a lot of trading going on in the Asia session overnight. But then we have Oz monetary policy meeting minutes. We also have CAD CPI data. CAD CPI data looking to come in a little bit lower than previous. We then have data out of China. So we have the 1-year loan prime rate and the 5-year loan prime rate. Remember that the 1-year loan prime rate actually increased previously, but it's looking like it's going to hold at 3.45% and 4.2%. So that could rock the markets a little bit at the early stages of the week. We then have CPI out of the UK, which looks to increase from 6.8% to 7.1%. Now, this could be quite crucial because we actually have a Bank of England interest rate announcement on Thursday, where we're actually seeing forecasts here coming in. We're going to see a 25 basis points interest rate hike from 5.25% to 5.5%. Now, this is actually something that we've covered previously in our live streams, which will be back this week on Tuesday and Thursday at 2:30 p.m. British Standard Time. So look out for those as well. And yeah, we've been talking about the fact that the Bank of England might have to go just one more, very similar to what we actually saw from the ECB, although the ECB was a little bit more unplanned, let's say. So there's an interesting dynamic going on there in the UK. But the big one, the big talking point, I think, is going to be this federal funds rate. We can see forecasts are at 5.5%. If we were to look at the CME Fed Watch tool as well, which we do in our live streams, you'll see that market participants, 98% market participants are pretty much priced in that the Federal Reserve are going to pause in their next meeting. Obviously, the statement and the press conference after is where we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what the Federal Reserve are going to do next. Is it going to be that hawkish pause that everybody seems to be expecting, or is this the end now? So we'll see what happens there. We do have another interest rate decision, this time from Switzerland, the Swiss National Bank, looking to hike interest from 1.75% to 2%, so that's quite significant. And then we also have monetary policy statements coming out of Japan and the BOJ press conference. Now, that could be really significant. If we do see any kind of changes there, which we have had some subtle hints that there may be some changes from the BOJ, then we could even get some kind of movement here. So this week's going to be very, very interesting week. And let's go take a look at some strength meter work before we get into the charts. Now, you can see here on the strength meter, the dollar remains a strong currency. Now, depending on how this week goes, that could remain the same. I think if we get a hawkish pause from the Fed, the fact that we've also got lots of data coming out this week, the market may be looking to go into more of those safe haven modes, and the dollar can act as a little bit of a safe haven. So we could see a little bit more of a flow into the US dollar still. One of the best performing currencies lately, if you actually look at the chart here, is the New Zealand dollar. You can see the New Zealand dollar coming in from those lows, pushing through higher. Maybe there's some underlying strength in the Kiwi at the moment that you could look into. Pound, one of the worst performers at the moment, and we'll go take a look at that in a second. But let's kick it off with the US dollar index, because the US dollar index is a market of real interest to us at the moment. You can see we're coming back into this 105.50 handle. This is the area where if we were to see price break through this level, we could see a move up to the 112s, even to the 113.50s, if you actually look at it from this weekly time frame point of view. Obviously, we found those lows back at a 99.50 level. Since then, the market has been on this really good run here, so it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts. There's a couple of signs that maybe the market may be topping around this area. We've got the 105.50. You can see the stochastic down here going into that overbought sort of criteria. That doesn't necessarily mean that the market is going to turn over, but it shows us that there's definite momentum to the upside here for the US dollar. A break above 105.50 would really shape this up for some potential higher moves. Going on to cable then, so cable's going to be an interesting watch. Obviously, we've got two sides of the coin this week. We've got the Fed and the Bank of England battling it out. What does that mean for the price of cable this week? You can see we traded through that key area. We've been looking basically at shorts below 1.2650, looking for that 123.50 lows, which came in May of this year, and it looks like price is heading towards that point. So if we do reach this area, we'll be looking to see how price reacts. Do we get a big reaction from this area? Do we see, for instance, price come into that area there and bounce away? Or do we see price trade through it, continue, hit that 122, perhaps come in very, very soon? So again, that's all going to depend on how the market participants see or take in this data from the Fed and the Bank of England this week. Dollar yen could be a really interesting play. So a featured dollar yen, we are still in that sort of bullish phase. Yen has been fairly weak lately. We are starting to sort of stall in and around this area, but there is some murmurs that we could expect another sort of increase here, perhaps into the 149, 150, 150s. I think anywhere between 149 and that 150, 150 would be an area of interest for market participants, especially if we do see any kind of changes from the Bank of Japan, any kind of intervention talks as well. But because the dollar strength at the moment, there could be a possibility that we are going to see that potential 149. Finally then, gold. Now gold may be the one to watch this week. It may become a little bit of a hedge to whatever kind of price action could come out. Now what's interesting about gold from a technical point of view, we were talking about shorts in from this 1942. We had some really nice volume analysis coming in down here as well. Price seems to have traded through those volume levels and has come back down into the $1,900 level, and since then we've had quite a sharp bounce from there. Now you can see I've got a long-term trend line running through here. The trend line starts from the high and the in May, and it comes in and hits the highs through here through July, and it hits the highs that we had most recently in September. If we were to break out of this area here, break out of this long-term trendline resistance, that could really signal that maybe market participants are using gold as more of a hedge in these type of market environments, in these times of perhaps uncertainty or perhaps some kind of unknowns maybe. Then we could see gold prices move higher. 1942 would be that kind of area where we saw lots of selling pressure coming in the past. But if we were to trade through that level, this 1980.50 is definitely a point of interest for those gold traders. So I'm going to leave it there. It's going to be a really interesting week. If you are interested in seeing more of this, join us for our live streams this week on Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching this video update. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel to see some more of our Forex trading content. Speak to you soon.